The New York Mets have started off very strong in the 2022 MLB season so far. And yes, a lot of it has to do with the contributions they are getting right now from their starting pitching staff, namely guys like Taijuan Walker, Carlos Carrasco, Chris Bassett, Tyler McGill, and when Max Scherzer was out there. These guys have really been the ones that have been headlining the New York Mets' success, and they have been the ones that have been behind the reason why the New York Mets are off to this very strong start. But you have to go even deeper than that, and that there's been one guy in that lineup especially that has been consistently getting on base, hitting the ball over the fence, and has been developing into the leader of the New York Mets since he even made his debut in the major leagues in 2019. Yes, I am talking about none other than the polar bear, the New York Mets first baseman, Pete Alonso. What's going on, everybody? This is NYG Jeffy T 3285, and today I'm going to go undercover on why Pete Alonso has been as strong and as good as he has been so far this year, and if he is the key to the New York Mets making a long playoff run and possibly even being a potential World Series contender this year. Now, Pete Alonso has been in the major leagues since he debuted in 2019. Oh man, did he debut in a wild storm, as he set the MLB record for home runs when he hit 53 home runs and over 100 and had 120 RBIs in his rookie season in 2019 while playing 161 games. And he had an OPS of 941 plus an on-base percentage of 353. And Pete Alonso, while having a batting average of 260. Pete Alonso in 2020 had a little bit of a down year, even though it was a shortened season. In 57 games, he managed to hit 16 home runs, 35 RBIs, with an OPS of 817 and an on-base percentage of 326, while unfortunately hitting a very meager 231. Last year in 2021, Pete Alonso had a little bit of a slow start, but managed to bounce back later in the season after playing in 152 games, and he hit 37 home runs while driving in 94 RBIs. He hit for a batting average of 262, which is an improvement for what he had in the last year, an on-base percentage of 344, and an OPS of 863. Much improved numbers from what he did in 2020 in the shortened season. And so far, at the beginning of this year, Pete Alonso has played 47 games and has managed to hit 12 home runs, a major league leading 45 RBIs, while hitting a very solid 283 with an on-base percentage of 348 and an OPS of 876. Very solid numbers for what has been one of the best young power hitting first basemen in the major league since he made his debut. Pete Alonso has gone out there and he's been one of the most consistent guys on this team since he made his debut in 2019. When he's out there, you're expecting a guy that's going to be able to consistently drive it over the fence with his incredible power. He's even able to find the hole in the field and be able to hit singles, doubles all over. He's got some he's not the quickest guy, obviously, for his size, but he has some decent speed. And the one thing that he has done so far over the past couple of years is he's definitely improved his defense. As Pete Alonso, one of the biggest knocks on Pete Alonso since he came into the major leagues was his defense. But the past year or two, he's definitely started to show some major improvement on the defensive side of the ball, and he's becoming one of the more all-arounded good first baseman players in this major leagues. Pete Alonso will be one of the biggest keys to success if the New York Mets plan on making a long run into the postseason and beyond. As right now they're off to a very strong start. They're right now leading the NL East, and the way that they've been pitching, and especially the way that Pete Alonso has been consistently hitting the ball over the fence, and he's been getting on base, the Mets have a very strong chance of possibly making a playoff run. Pete Alonso just needs to do a couple of things that stay healthy, continue to improve on his defensive end of the game, as well as he needs to not be way too power happy, and he's got to also be able to spray the ball around the field, because as much as we know he has incredible power in his bat, he has to be able to spray the ball around the field, and when the power isn't there, when he's in a little bit of a slump, he's just still got to be able to make those key hits when it's needed. Pete Alonso has also developed, in even the short amount of career he's been in the major leagues, into an all-around leader of this team. And when you think about the New York Mets, you think of him as the face of this franchise. Yes, you could also say Jacob deGrom, but deGrom the past couple of years has been dealing with a couple of injury issues. So Pete Alonso has really taken over as the face of this New York Mets franchise, and the guy that is looking to try to carry this team back to the promised land and bring home a World Series trophy for the New York Mets, something they have not been able to do since the great 1986 team that is able to come back against the Boston Red Sox, I'm sorry. Pete Alonso right now, all he has to do is consistently just go out there, continue to lead this team, get on base, hit the ball for power like he has been, but not get too power happy, spray the ball around the field, which he has definitely been capable of doing, and play very solid defense. And most importantly, he hasn't really dealt with any injury issues or anything. Pete Alonso is one of those guys that he's been on the field when you need him to be. So Pete Alonso has got to continue to stay on the baseball diamond and just continue to do what he's doing, because right now, you know, when Pete Alonso is out there, that is the one player, especially, you can argue Jeff McNeil as well, and even Francisco Lindor, but Pete Alonso is the one guy on that New York Mets team right now that when he is up at bat, you have to make sure you pitch him very carefully, because even a ball that Pete Alonso has to reach for, he's still able to drive it over the fence with his immense power that he has in his bat and the strength he has to push it over the fence no matter what ballpark he is in. So Pete Alonso is really the catalyst for this New York Mets offense, and has been since he first came into the league. And all he has to keep doing is continue to lead this team, stay on the field, and also just do what he's been doing. Because with him playing as well as he has so far this year, there is no doubt about it that he's going to become an all-star, obviously, with just the way he's played. And he might be one of the big reasons why the New York Mets can go on a very strong playoff run this year. As right now, there hasn't been that much strong competition in the NL East, as the defending champion Atlanta Braves have been off to a sluggish start. The Phillies have been very inconsistent. The Washington Nationals have just taken a nosedive since trading away all their players the past couple of years. And the Miami Marlins, they've been off to a pretty decent start, but it's just a matter of time until eventually they just go back to what they are, and they're not that good of a team right now. So Pete Alonso, the face of the New York Mets franchise, the league leader right now in RBIs, power hitting, power all over the place, can hit the ball over the fence anywhere in any ballpark, improved defense, and one of the big reasons why the New York Mets are right now in first place in the NL East and are primed to not only make the playoffs this year, but potentially go on a long playoff run and possibly even a World Series berth, and who knows, maybe if he and the Mets team gets hot enough, they could be the ones holding up that World Series trophy at the end of the day, because this Mets team is good enough. They are good enough, and maybe if they add another power bat around the trade deadline, this New York Mets team is good enough to be able to make it to the World Series. And a lot of it is going to have to do with their power hitting first baseman, Pete Alonso, aka the Polar Bear. So this was just a quick little video as I just went undercover on Pete Alonso and why he has been one of the biggest reasons why this New York Mets team is a threat going into the rest of this 2022 MLB season, and why they could become a big threat in the playoffs because of the way that Pete Alonso has been consistently hitting the ball, and that teams are going to have a difficult time trying to pitch around this guy because of just the way he's been hitting the ball all over the place. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully the New York Mets can have a very strong weekend too. Had a great win last night against the Philadelphia Phillies, winning 8-6. Ironically, behind the big bat of Pete Alonso, who had another home run and had 4 RBIs last night. So hopefully the New York Mets can end this weekend strong and have a very, very happy Memorial Day. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. And let's go New York Metropolitans.